tank fly, boss walk, jam, nitty gritty. You're listening to the boy from the big bad city. This is Jam Hot. This is Jam Hot.
They say that Eskimo people have dozens of words for snow. It's actually a lot of horse shit, but let's ignore that for a second so we can draw a parallel with cyclo-cross riders having lots of words and phrases to describe mud. One of them is peanut butter. It's thick, sticky, and James McCallum loves it in his porridge. It was the peanut butter variety of mud we experienced at Lochore Meadows on the 22nd of November. Some people stayed away from the race because, get this, they didn't like to ride in mud. I suggest those people go look up cyclo-cross in Wikipedia and take up beach volleyball or something. In fairness to them, they may have been more concerned with their rear mechs, and history tells us now that this was a legitimate concern. It'll come as no surprise to regular viewers of the Cross Report that the women's race was once again where all the action was at. In the fourth round of the SCX series we saw the fourth new winner of a women's race. This time it was the turn of Wiggle Honda's Eileen Rowe to take a win, finding some form just before the Scottish champs. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The start of the race saw a group of 4 riders battling it out. Those riders being Rowe, WV Breda's Anne Ewing, who presumably got a better start than she did in the last round, young Lucy Grant of People's CC, and the ever-fluorescent Jane Barr of Velocity 44. Missing from this roll call was Maddie Robinson, who was racing in England somewhere, and by the way won that race, so well done Maddie. Within a few laps, there were 2 little bubbles which rose to the top of the muddy slope in the shape of Rowe and Ewing, who stayed together for the rest of the race. At some points they even seemed to be chatting. Meanwhile, Grant slogged away holding on to third spot without really making any progress on the 2 riders at the front. Barr rode a similar ride in 4th position. As Rowe and Ewing approached the final barriers before the finish line, you could see that Ewing was keen to get into the barriers before Rowe. But if you want an example of how having good portage technique can make a difference in a race, then watch this. Rowe is thinking about the corner after the barriers. If she gets to that corner first on the inside line, then she has won the race. Coming out to the barriers, Ewan is still marginally ahead, but she loses momentum when getting back on the bike, while Rowe keeps hers. This is simply down to her having better technique, and it won her the race. Ewing has no way of getting past Rowe in the corner and resigns herself to second place after this. There's not enough straight to take time back in a sprint, and she knows it. The men's open race was the polar opposite of this race when it came to intrigue. It seems we'll need to wait until the Scottish champs before Davy Lines gets a real challenge when he faces the current under-23 British cyclo-cross champion Grant Ferguson. This, however, is a massive and rather rude disservice to what was a very impressive ride by Gary McDonald of Hope Racing, 2nd position. McDonald seems to be loving his cyclo-cross this year. He only found out what a power meter was the other day, so I expect we'll see a much improved rider if he starts training in the same manner as his close competitors. The winner of the previous round, Provision's Harry Johnson, was having a far more challenging ride this time around, as he and Neil Walker of Walker's Cycling Club slugged it out for the 3rd step on the podium. It wasn't to be for the young Provision rider, as Walker came out the better in this battle. One gets the feeling that cyclo-cross riders around Scotland are browsing through running websites looking at running shoes, because Walker hasn't looked in this good condition for years. Let's get up to date with a few other things in the world of Scottish cyclo-cross. Firstly, there was a race at Plean on the 29th of November. Unfortunately, I didn't make it along to that, and I'd love to do a longer piece about this race, but I'm struggling to find the time to give it the attention it deserves. The limited parking available at Plean meant that the organiser needed to limit numbers, so fields were much reduced from previous races. Lines again took the victory in the men's race, and Eileen Rowe took her 2nd win in a row. There has to be an amazing pun in there somewhere, but I'm not intelligent enough to piece one together. There was also the announcement of the Super Quake series, which might explain what all the pish I've been putting in at the end of these videos has been about. It's a 4-round cyclo-cross series in January and February. The first 3 rounds opened for entry shortly after the announcement, and at the time of me writing all this nonsense down to read out, only Beveridge Park on the 7th of February had any spaces left, and even then it was only 1 or 2. The last round of the series will be Digging at the Dock, sponsored by Pedal Power, on the 21st of February. Entry for this will open at 7 PM on the 8th of December on Entry Central. You can try to grab one of the 180 first come first served places we are making available, and after that you can enter your name onto the waiting list. we will invite a further 50 riders into the race from this list. The first come first served places often disappear in a matter of minutes, but don't lose heart if you don't get one of these spaces, as there is still a good chance of getting a start. But you need to join the waiting list to be in with a chance. You won't be charged anything unless you get into the race. Like the other races in the Super Quake series, the event will be split into an A race and a B race based on your performance. If you don't get into the race, we recommend you come along and watch, because as always it will be a great spectacle. You could even volunteer to help us out by marshalling, or helping us set out the course, or even both. There will unfortunately be no refunds provided to riders who can't make it along. The reason for this is that we put every penny back into the race, so giving you a refund would lead to us making a loss. The next race is the one we've all been waiting for, the Scottish Championships on the 6th of December at the course dubbed Jock Cider on Irvine Beach. It's a fabulous cyclocross course, and I for one am desperately holding back some PP in anticipation of riding there again. Until we speak again, thanks for watching.